Hello again, welcome back to a new episode of Parkitect. In today's episode, I am going to be working on the campaign map Technopolis. What you see before you right now is the beginnings of building a this is an ATM and bathroom stall and a vending machine, and across the street I'm going to build a swinging ride. The idea for this park was more of the challenge was I gave myself, can I build like designated lands on top of the mall of Technopolis? Because Technopolis is a shopping mall that you're just in Tokyo, and you're supposed to build a theme park on top of it, and you're only limited space, and you can't build into the mall and stuff like that. So the idea was to kind of build on top of that and kind of build a themed area, and I want to try to do that. So the first themed area is going to be like Victorian theme, so I'm building like a Victorian, I don't know, I already told you, a Victorian like manor or something of that sort, and that's why I picked the swinging ride, because it's kind of Victorian-like, kind of like a Paradise Pier-ish type of theme. So they're kind of just doing simple buildings of that. The other themes that go along in this I did was a jungle, an Arabian theme, and a space theme. So this kind of was the idea of just kind of going back and forth on that. It's kind of a cool little challenge. I did like doing this one. This map was way more fun, in my opinion, than decorating Candyland. And this is like, I think it's like the 7th map in the campaign, so I kind of skipped around. I skipped 2 maps. I might go back to those later. But I want to do this one first because I had the idea. So yeah, on to building the tower or spire. Goes with the building. I did some different type of decorations on it this time, like a half shape or a cylinder. Do a half shape, kind of gives a type of, I don't know, weird looking arch, things like that. And then your pillar work, normal things like that. Nothing really much to talk about my building style. My building style kind of copies from other people and things like that. The things to note for this scenario is that you couldn't build underground, so you couldn't build like behind the scenes like employee paths, so you kind of had to build them in the thing. The downside for this one was I didn't want to build, more depots. There's only one depot on the map, so I didn't want to do that. Regardless, I kind of just fit everything very snug together and close together. Basically, there's just a lot of, not a lot of pre-planning, but kind of. This map felt like more of a puzzle to me because it was so small. And just jumped around. Over here I'm building another building that goes with this main street. It's kind of a main street, it's kind of just a cluster of buildings up against this part of like the backdrop building. So I'm just going to build a building that houses umbrellas and the bubble tea. Good note to do is that with the umbrellas, you should just hike them up to like 20 bucks. And whenever it rains, peeps will always just buy the umbrellas. You'll make a killing on umbrellas. It's ridiculous, but it's a tip you can use. There are more border work and stuff like that. But yeah, put a Ferris wheel in. Yeah, the Ferris wheel kind of fit in perfectly because that one's very skinny blueprint, or blueprint, or you want to say your footprint. Sorry, footprint. Look for the word footprint. Yeah. So I put that in. I put the Torbjorn in the back, if I'm even pronouncing that correctly. And I had to start the park soon because I needed to get people in and start paying to come in and get money. And then I decided to continue working on this last building to kind of finish up the Victorian area. I go back and forth on it and work on it back and forth, so it's not like it doesn't look finished on here, but it will be finished later on, or add things to it, which is okay to do when you're working on like a map or something. You want to just leave it, let it like sit there and, I don't know, what's it called, like you get comfortable with it, and then you want to like add something new to it later on. It's always the best thing to go back and kind of like add some new details or add some new colors, things like that. It's even if you're really drastic. Sometimes I've done is like I would completely redesign a land because I didn't like it at the end, or I didn't feel like it was like perfect. Like for example, the Twister ride is not covered for like majority of the build. And I went back later on and just made a cover for it because it felt like it was missing something. And sometimes that happens. You're like sitting there like, oh, what is it missing? Don't know. So you just have to give yourself a moment. Don't force yourself to do something, because if you force yourself to do something, things come out crappy or not that good, and you kind of feel bad that you did it that way. I've done that before. It's kind of a thing you kind of have to learn on your own sometimes, but I'm just going to tell you straightforward that you don't give up on doing something like that. Just try to muscle through it, and good things will come out eventually. Yeah. Kind of the things I've learned when building things in any game, Parkitect to Planet Coaster to model making. It's kind of the same idea. Don't try not to overwhelm yourself, basically. So on to the next big project, or the first coaster I get to build is a hydraulic launch coaster, and this is going to be themed to a Mayan temple or jungle theme or something, because nothing here is supposed to be that realistic. It is on top of a mall. So I kind of thought of things like from what I've seen some pictures, I did some research, like I've seen like malls and some Tokyo theme parks. They're very very big themed and very interesting, and I think it's really cool that they did things like that. And I don't know, it just felt like this would work out to make like 4 separate little lands in this area to just jam it all in there. So here I'm just going to build a very simple and short hydraulic launch coaster. I kind of pre-planned it where it was going to go. Kind of. I mean, I wanted to maybe wrap around the tourbillon here, but that kind of looked weird from my angle, and some of the supports were disappearing, and I wasn't going to put custom supports because I didn't have the mod, and the mod does not exist for campaign play, so it kind of changes things out. It's okay, it's a challenge. I like challenges. It's like a puzzle. Again, always fun to do. So on to figuring out what. Yeah, here I change. It does a secondary loop around on itself at this like weird type of helix kind of thing, because I needed more length to the ride, so I felt like it was too short. I mean, it is a short hydraulic launch coaster, very short. Planning out the exit for it, and then the entrance for the queue line, and then on to build some, I don't know, a weird looking temple. Wasn't really focused on the realism of it. I just wanted to build a temple. Kind of what I was going for. Just very, I don't know, carnival-like, fake temple. I don't know. That's basically what it was. Yeah. Let's see here. Tips for pricing coasters. I don't know if I said this before, but maybe when you build a coaster and it has a very high excitement, usually you go for like $12. If it's like medium, it's about 10 to 8, and if it's really low, it's like 5. So depending on your excitement, it's what the price of the coaster will be. And usually coasters are the breadwinners in most theme parks, so always try to make them as best as possible with the good excitement and intensity to go with it, because a coaster with low intensity really doesn't get you that much money actually. So this is off to building some of the pillar support for the temple. I think this is like the second time I've used the new scenery. I'm still not used to it yet. I'm also trying to think of other ways to use it instead of how they're intended. Because that's the behavior sometimes when you get a new piece of scenery, is that you want to use it as intended. So this is temple, so you have to build a temple out of it. I try not to do that. I've used the temple pieces for other things like roofing for like a farmhouse or something, or I use the walls as brick foundations for another type of house. So I'm still trying to figure out how to basically use them for other parts, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, the pieces are interchangeable basically. it's like the same thing with walls and the borders and the pillars. They don't have to be what they are, because the pillars are not really made of wood, they're just pillars. But if you color it brown, you imagine it's wood or something, or it's gray, it's made of iron, stuff like that. So, it's give or take. It's kind of a hard thing to work with when you don't know what to do. Do you understand? Regardless, I'm just rambling at this point. So, as it continues to grow and build itself, the temple is just kind of building itself now as you get a shape into it, because looking at a blank map is the hardest thing to do. And this is easier just to kind of place down walls as quickly as possible, and then you kind of shape it and sculpt it again any way you want. I'm trying to remember what other ideas I had for this map before. Also, I wanted to try to do Western theming on this map too, but then I found out that the scenery does not research Western, so I had some, I don't know, basically no choices. No, I had choices. I could have done Western without Western props. It's really not that hard. I felt like it wouldn't stand out if I didn't have my Western props, like the boxes and the rails and I think the TNT box or something. So, I think the themes that I picked worked out pretty well. You can see some of the transitions as I build on. Like I'm building these like rocks on the side. I gotta figure out building a restaurant here. Again, the downside for this map is that it's so small. Building employee pathways is kind of like not going to happen. So guests will always see a hauler with a box and they always complain. But you can counteract that by making it a whole bunch of scenery, and that just counteracts the negative because there's be so much more positive on top of that. So it's kind of an interesting way how that worked out. So no, don't worry when you're trying to do this map or trying to play it that you need to build a whole bunch of backstage area. You don't necessarily need to. Let's skip ahead on to the more my favorite part is the Arabian area. So I decided to put up here a magic carpet ride, and then I'm going to put down one of the vertical roller coasters, the new ones, the vertical spinning, and then I think I put a restaurant up here later. But it's just a very simple, I don't know, Arabian type of building, like Mystic Oasis, things like that. I kind of pulled the inspiration from, I don't know, Aladdin to Adventureland from Disneyland, stuff like that. Yeah, basic windows, lots of tan colors and browns, and doing this stacking shapes to give it that, I don't know, that corner ballast or brickwork. Kind of gives it that good little detail. I think detail is always a big thing when you build in a theme park simulator or a model maker or something like that. Detail is always a good thing to go for. Don't always leave it blank. You can, because sometimes even just basic stuff looks good. But I felt like this building needed a little bit more attention to detail, things to look at, drag your eyes around to the corner, stuff like that. So as I bounce around here and figure out where I wanted to put my second roller coaster, it would be the vertical spinning. This is one of the new coasters from the DLC. And I've only built 2 of these, so this one and another one on my first playthrough of the campaign. Kind of very interesting ride, kind of hard to build with, because you can make it super intense where no one rides it, because you need to put brakes before every drop or every loop around. And yeah, it's an interesting ride. The vertical spinning kind of looks the same after every time you build it. It's an interesting addition, but it's a good addition because you can sit in this 1x tile area, except for the station. The station has to be 1x3. No, sorry, 3x3 or however long the station is you want it to be. But it kind of just fits in a very skinny area. It kind of works out for this type of map. So here I'm figuring out where my entrance and exit go for the station, and I kind of like, oh, I can use the same building from what I used for the magic carpet ride. It worked out pretty well actually. And the ride's pretty popular actually. The only challenge was putting the exit, and I kind of put myself in a predicament. And I was like, okay, I need to go over somewhere because I can't go under. So I went over the rail, and then kind of built a staircase that kind of sat out in the middle of nowhere. It kind of looked ugly, so I had to build a building around this staircase, which you'll see in about maybe, so I don't know, a couple seconds, in a couple minutes you'll see it. But I needed to cover up because I think the staircase was kind of just blah and boring looking, and so in a building it goes, and another Arabian building kind of flush out this small little area. Oh, look at that! I won the map again. So yeah, that happened during my playthrough. I was like, okay, I'm not really focused on the goals, because I already did this once when I rushed it when the DLC came out, and then as I was playing through that, I was thinking of things to how to decorate these maps. These ones are harder to decorate than the original campaign, but I like the challenge. It's cool. Speaking of campaigns, I'm going to reiterate again that Hyperion City's on the workshop, ready for you guys to play and see what's up with that map. I'm already working on my 15th campaign level that will come out in the next video after this one, so keep an eye out for that one. That'll be my 15th campaign level. Oh my god, I can't believe I've done 15 of these. I never thought I would do that, but okay. Back to the video. So here I'm doing some decorative pillar work with some cylinders, kind of make it like cartoon Arabian, like Aladdin. So I kind of just went for white and blue stripes, very, I don't know, Arabian? I think it's Arabian. I don't know why they did that for those colors. I don't know. There's something to do with it. I'm not sure the history. And here's a very simple, like wooden looking roof with the borders I like using. And then I finished that up. The staircase, that's before the land gets covered up off screen by another building I made. That's Victorian theme, so that's a transition point. Put in some of these palm trees. Now, when I was thinking of this map, I knew I needed to build like fake scenery or fake like rolling hills as like a wall to kind of keep in the magic like this land does. So I decided to make some sand dunes out of very simple cylinders and shapes and kind of just keep them against this back fence, and I really like this effect. I should have done more, actually, come to think of it, to the Adventureland area. I should have made like some jungle mountains. I might do that one time, but I kind of like the idea of making it like hidden away from the real world, so you come into this park, Technopolis, and your adult woes would go away, and you enter in this wonderful little park, and enchantment and enchantment and fun. I don't know, something like that. So yeah, that's kind of what I did there. You'll see more of it on the like tour later, or the picture. Well, it's not picture. It's more like a overview of the park. You'll see more. Over here, I added my last 2 attractions, the Wipeout, and then a motion simulator for like a space themed area. So I always think that motion simulator always has to be space themed, unfortunately. I just feel like it just does. I mean, I could theme it to jungle too, but I wanted 4 different lands. So the space land is actually the smallest. It has all this track above it, so I kind of had to squeeze it in there. I think it worked out because I needed people to be out in this area away from the jungle area or connection 2. Yeah, and there's some of the, I don't know, metal roofing, and then I wanted to build a tower with a rocket on it. Kind of had to keep in mind that there was another coaster here next to me I didn't have to run into, or try not to. So kind of just going off, just doing whatever I want. It's not like it's planned. Most things aren't, not for this game. If it's different if it was like a recreation, I would have to plan it. Like Thunder Mountain I planned, and Hang Time I planned. This was just kind of like going with my gut and lots of deleting and replacing. Here I wanted some, I don't know, vents of steam, vents of space stuff, volcano vents. So I decided to just put those in and just kind of give some decoration. It works out. I like it. It makes the land a little more spacey-like. And then I wanted to separate the Wipeout from the space, so I decided to put some rock wall facade some of the new crystals has like minerals and this strange alien planet. I try to think of stories like this. It just makes it more enjoyable to think, why is this placed here? Why is this decorated that? And it gives it a better grounding. You add a story to it. Why I like doing my own campaign level or my own custom scenarios is that I add stories to it, what makes it more believable in my eyes to decorate it, the reason why things were put in, things like that. So, yeah, it's just something that I always gravitate toward. Over here is some little fun I wanted to do. I wanted to make some like space themed logo for like the tower here, so kind of like just messed around with some sizing corners. It's just a circle and some borders, and I wanted to make a rocket through it, so I decided to do some well, shape making. You pick shapes, make some props out of it, some lighting, little circles to simulate, I don't know, asteroid points on this planet logo, and then like a rocket going across that goes, and then I made a rocket out of regular cylinders, and I think, yeah, just make cylinders for the rocket. So I think it's a cool little thing to do. I also wanted to do for this map, but I didn't get to do it because I felt it was a little more time consuming. I didn't really want to do more work. Because I was going to make another replica of Parkitect logo on top of the building as like their main logo or something for this park, but I decided not to do it. It was kind of like, it was getting late when I was working on this map and stuff like that. So, yeah. Kind of just build work and normal stuff. So, I'm going to leave you guys here though, just watch me finish the details of this building, and you'll see a like overview of the park of Technopolis. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.